is total control.
Boa mascota, te come Purina? Well, if hindi ayaki, abo ibo mascota, por gana in grande que Purina Possum Holidays. Purina Pro Plan, Dog Chow, Friskies, Fancy Feast y Hopi Marca Más. Compra dos productos valorando mínimo 25 florin y gana 1,000 florin cash. Cool prices y un aya gratis de comida para tu mascota. Purina Possum Holidays. Visita a Facebook page de compra para más información.
Hi, I'm Carolina, and I am the host of Sincerely Carolina, a series of educational conversations about current social issues with local and international experts. Make sure you tune in every Saturday on Cool FM from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye! Hello, bom dia, happy Saturday. May espero ko po dati yung bon si Mang, whatever that means to you. Sorry ko nas kumisa ng tikilat, but it's okay. Mi escravisa, para mí ko nas kumisa ko episode awe ko nos lo papiando mostly na English. Pasi na akomoda gastan ko ta presente awe. Para mí ko mi sige mi escravisa danki na mi awesome sponsors for allowing me to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Mi escravisa danki na Kulafam, of course, pa espacio, pero danki na Purina, danki na La Roche Pasay, danki na Total. I appreciate you so much. Espero que o weekend começa bom. Me sinto que vai por onde Aruba tá Pasko. And I love it. Me gosto que fini ayan, que tu rene, tá ponendo nang luz nang pafo. Me espero que tu rotona nang kada kla on time. Whomever's listening, me ting apple chat schelen ko erotonda di mi barrio. So me sinto tur ayan na lat. Anto mi kis pa no mencionar ang agora aqui live, pero se me sinto que não tá quedando atrás a trova, me querem também mencionar anto porta contra na semester ajudo. So I'm up for it. I love organization. Anto me sinto jammer ko mi barrio tá lat tur ora. E se você atuar funda me beba, then you know that. Anyways, me espero que o weekend tá começa bom. So I will be doing the switch to English, so we can do that episode. Just remember that we are live on Cool FM's YouTube and Facebook page, and you can find this episode after we're done on those pages, so you can replay it. So if for whatever reason you cannot listen to the whole thing right now, you can find it back. But also you can find it on your favorite podcasting platform next week, whether that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whichever one you use. So do not worry. You can find it back. So I just want to let you know that my close-up camera is not really working. So anytime that I'll be talking, you'll just sort of be listening to my voice, but I will make sure to focus on our guests. So you will be seeing their beautiful faces. So without further ado, I will let them introduce themselves. Some of them you might know from Sincerely Carolina already, but I will still allow them to give themselves the opportunity to introduce themselves and just tell us who they are and whatever they want to say. So, Tito, I'm going to start with you. You are not new to anybody on the island, but for anybody who is not sure who you are, tell them who you are.
So I'm Tito Bolivar, the organizer of the Aruba Art Fair, the Art Week Aruba, the Mural Festivals in St. Nicholas, and also director of ArtisA, which means Artist Aruba. And we have, I'm the director also of 2 galleries in St. Nicholas and the whole 9 yards. We can keep talking the whole morning of everything that we do, but we're not here for that. So yes, bon dia, bon dia.
Thank you. I think that was a good introduction for now, and I'll ask more questions about you. The work that you do, what it means to be all of those things within the Aruban context. But I will allow our other guests to introduce themselves. So, Ryon, I'm going over to you since the camera is on you already. Can you tell us who you are and why you're here today?
Bom dia, na toeristen que nos escuta. Sim, meu nome é Ryon Dijkhoff. Também mais bem se acabou o programa acaba para diferente tópico de querer de Rotary com everything. So zie dus leuk dat je back kubo in studio met de switch naar Engels aqui dato para dar uma introdução no papiamento. Sim, dus met de kinang ame ding um outro patch.
Indeed.
Bom mensagem.
Nós tem hope, it's fine.
Patch, bom mensagem Carolina. Nou, dus we praten Thomas como eigenlijk creative director di Maison Ryon Aruba, com também brand. Com aqui rato nos lo papia com ele to forma parte di proyecto que nós também papia DJ.
Thank you. That's a nice introduction. And last but definitely not least, Jean, can you tell us who you are and why you're here today?
Sure. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Jean Cherouny, and I am an artist who does something a little unusual. I paint in motion and feelings and emotions. I'm a rollerblade painter. And I've been living on the island for about 3 years now. I met Tito here first in San Nicolas, came very interested in San Nicolas's immersion into the art world, and it's specifically it's mural painting. I became very fascinated with it as an art community 3 years ago. So yeah, each painting for me is a feeling and a gestural movement, and I have been making my paintings and being a participating artist at ArtisA now here, and I'm excited for this discussion about moving to Red Dot with a group of artists. I'm very honored to be included in the group of artists that is going to Miami.
So I think for anybody who's listening and who might not know what Red Dot is, or why we're excited, why you guys of course are excited that not only are Aruban artists going, but y'all are going in numbers. So I think it's also like a statement, right, that Aruba is going to be represented. Not we are a small island, but I love it when we make a big impact and a big impression. So maybe Tito or Jean, you can tell us a little bit about Red Dot and why you chose, as a gallery and as an artist collective to go there.
Well, I'm going to take over for a second. Jean is not only an artist, but she's also a board member of our foundation. Yes, and it all actually started last year that I went with the Aruba Tourism Authority to the States, to Miami, to see all the art fairs, to try to scout which art fair we could belong to.
Okay.
And Jean happened to be an exhibiting artist already in Red Dot, Miami. So she was under the ArtisA Gallery, which is one of the biggest gallerists in Red Dot, Miami. And she introduced me to the gallerist, and we had a very long, short conversation. And then I left the guy alone. But in 10 minutes, he called Jean back and said, please come back, I want to learn more. Yes, and after that short, long conversation, we told him we want to be here next year. Yes, we came back and we started working immediately, and we're going this year. And it's quite interesting because it's part of the vision of the foundation. As that's why we have 2 galleries in San Nicolas. The vision was always to go to attend an auto art fair.
Okay.
Yes, and this art fair is not just a art fair. It moves about 40,000 visitors in that week. Yeah, that's like 1/3 of Aruba, and that's amazing. And we have chosen not only designers but also fashionistas to join in, because our art week will be launched in Red Dot, Miami.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a takeover by joining an art fair to actually launch the 2026 theme of Art Week Aruba 2026. So we can start incentivizing people to come to our art fair, to our fashion show, to our mural festival.
Not only we're gonna do it, but that you weren't like going to wait 2 years or 3 years to make it happen. You were just like, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it like the next one, and just kind of go for it. I don't think people understand how much maybe planning goes into that, and maybe I do think it's important for people to understand that for Aruba to be represented in international spaces, it takes a lot. Not just planning and organization, but also resources. So I do want to hear a little bit about, you were mentioning you have hundreds of boxes that need to go, for example. So maybe I think it's important for us to appreciate those efforts, to also understand what kind of goes into that. So maybe you both can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, one of the things that I'm particularly excited about with this organization is that we have a good group of volunteers, and I feel so incredibly grateful for their contributions to our organization on a daily basis. They come from having a lot of experience, having participated in the art fair and have stayed on, and some of them are now employees of the organization and are learning what it takes to be a gallerist and learning what it takes to alongside with us to sort of prepare. And so without them, it would be very difficult because we also have to manage running the gallery, and there's a lot to do besides just getting ready for the art fair. So, but yeah, we're trying to have a lot of fun because Aruba is a happy island, and and we try to keep that in perspective, and we want to bring that energy to Red Dot.
Yes, talking about planification, you can't really plan on Aruba. It's very difficult because you will always get step back.
Okay.
Yes, like for us, we had everything placed to go through post office, and just to learn that the post office doesn't ship to United States of America anymore.
Oh, wow.
Shift us completely because of the tariffs, and they have to go homeschooling and all those crazy stuff. So and all the pressure of the artist come back to me because I am the organizer and I'm the facilitator and the gallerist. So all the artists are like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? So I started calling every freight company that I know and start lobbying and start seeing what is the cheapest, most efficient way to bring this art to the States without it breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to understand when you're shipping stuff around, it doesn't matter how good you box it, it's about who's handling it, that it's gonna get there good or not. Yes, or everything should be in crates, and crates would be like so expensive. So right now, our only option is American Airlines.
Wow.
So we're shipping our cargo out through American Airlines to the States, and just with good vibes, knowing that it will be good there. And we are super excited because we have a 80 feet space
Wow.
in Miami. So we're going with 9 local artists, and we're also meeting an artist in the States, which is an
Okay.
American, but she has very strong ties with Aruba.
Okay.
And she has participated twice in our fair, so we thought it was only but fair to get her in that fair because she's like right there. So it's quite interesting, but I'm very happy that we live on Aruba, and Arubians always, when needed, they will step up to the plate and make sure things get done.
Indeed, and that's the beautiful thing about living in a collectivist culture, right? We feel that sense of pride, we feel that sense of responsibility to make sure that our own kind of make it and do well and come true. So I think for you to feel that as you are preparing for this big step is really nice to hear as well. So I do want to hear a little bit about you as artists, and I want to start with you, Jean, because I feel like anytime that you say what type of art you do, people's brains might glitch a little. I remember the first time you told me, it took me a little, and I was like, what? Can you explain that again? So you have what I think is a very unique form of making art, where you you use your rollerblades, and it's like the first time you said that, I was like, but how do you do that? Like, do you skate? So maybe you can explain a little bit about the art that you do, and how that also helps within our local context. Sort of people try out new things and expand their art forms.
Absolutely, I'm happy to talk about that. It's something I'm passionate about. I started out as a very high-level elite athlete as a young child in my teens and early 20s in college, and I went to grad school, and I sort of honed in on some of the absolute sort of essential things that interested me in the confluence of creativity and athleticism. And when you look at one of my paintings, whether it's made with a rollerblade wheel on a stick rolling it, or I'm dancing on the canvas, you see a level of gentleness as well as intensity. And I always found in sport that, like, I was a ski racer, and I would take a turn, like I'd have to come into a turn with like this gentleness, like this sensitivity, this sense of touch on the snow, and it's like that. It's very intimate, it's a very intimate experience. It's also like all eye, mind, and body. And I came into it like, okay, and then you have to pressure the ski really hard and hold against gravity. And to me, that's an amazing force. And I was so excited and exhilarated by this experience as a youth. And so I try to combine those two elements of gentleness and intensity in a work of art where I'm, dashing the wheel on the canvas with a little generation of a turn or a loop. And I also looked in art history quite a bit. for a lot of my inspiration. Jackson Pollock, Cy Twombly, people who really, in abstract expressionism, especially the women like Helen Frankenthaler and Joan Mitchell, and also Rebecca Purdom, who was my neighbor at the time. I was so lucky as a young aspiring artist in my 40s to actually meet one of the most top abstract expressionists in the world, known for her painting with her hands and her sense of touch on the canvas. And so I really learned from her sense of intimacy on the canvas, and I try to bring that to each work of art of mine. So I don't know if that helps a little bit. It's kind of an intense thing that I do, and I always think to myself, how can I push it another level? I'm always thinking, what's the next level? The next level for me is AI. It's like thinking about how our theme. I don't know. I'm not going to blow the. I'll let you say it. But for me, technology is so pervasive in our culture, and it all started with the wheel. I mean, if we didn't have the wheel, we wouldn't have AI, because it progressed technology in our society and our civilization. And so I was thinking about this like early on, like, wow, the wheel is just like so important. Like it's an important tool. It gave us so much, and so now I'm thinking a lot about like how I can interface, like ask AI or chat GPT, like what do they see from Jean Cherouny rollerblade painting, and then I get like ideas from it. Like what do they see in like a butterfly wing that relates to Jean Cherouny's rollerblade paintings, and then I sort of have this little conversation with like nature, AI, and me, and so that's sort of for me the next level. And I honestly didn't learn that until I came to ArtisA, because Tito was like, first his favorite friend was Google, and then his favorite friend was ChatGPT, and I was like, what is this guy doing with AI? Like, I was just like so fascinated with his approach to things, and that in a collaboration, kind of like learning from him, like, wow, technology is a really powerful tool, and it's kind of like something that going forward you can't really escape. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a huge part of our existence. So I'm working that way a little bit more now.
I love to hear that. I think a lot of people sort of frown upon the use of AI, and I think in certain areas it's less frowned upon than others, but it's somehow sends a message apparently that either you're not capable of doing it yourself, rather than seeing it as an opportunity to test yourself and to truly push yourself to places you have never thought you could have gone to. So it's so nice to hear that in an artistic way you're also doing that, rather than being like, oh, that's below me, and or maybe that's for new people or people who are not creative enough, etc. So I hope that people who are also listening, who maybe might be using a lot of technology to create art, and who might maybe been told that their art is not real art because it's digital, or because it's propelled with digitalization and AI and the internet and computers, that they can feel also like validated and maybe motivated and inspired to continue to push those boundaries and to sort of find that space where they can excel, right? Ryan, before you arrived here, we had a small chat about you. And Eeny meeny, yeah. We talked about a lot of things, but one of the things that I mentioned is, obviously like you said, you wear many hats, and I've known you in many different roles. And one of the things that I was mentioning to Jean and to Tito is that I feel like in the last couple of years, and I think it has to do with a generation shift, we as a society have become much more not only accepting but embracing of people having different roles and different identities, right? And that one identity and one role doesn't necessarily take away from the other, but it complements the other. And we were talking about, you have a very serious job. I also have a very serious job. And then we do these things that, maybe under other circumstances and different times might seem even silly to other people. But you have decided to fully embrace your artistic side, fully embrace, this role and identity, without it in any way taking away from your other roles and parts of, your identity. Can you tell us a little bit about, how is in Aruban you end considering that you are in such a serious business, that you decided to do something you loved, and then we all see the fruits of that. You're creating beautiful things that if you wouldn't have made that choice, we wouldn't be able to enjoy. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good observation. I think for me, it's different things. I've always been passionate in everything that I do. I think there's the right time for everything. In that sense as well, from a very young age, I have been very creative. As a child, I love to draw a lot, to paint. I've won many national competitions. But, in that sense, I left it at that. But one of my favorite classes always in school was art classes. So in that sense, it's in me. It's from a very young age, and also with my mother and my family in Carnival. It's also ingrained in that part. Then, you have the choice to study, and then I did choose accountancy and control. I did move to Amsterdam. I have my degree from the University of Amsterdam in that field. I have my career now spanning 10 years in Aruba in external audit, being a manager in that field and managing my teams and servicing my clients. So in that sense, it's a very different hat, as you say, as well as in different capacities, from the Rotary Club of Aruba to being president of the YMCA Aruba Centers. I have different hats. But one thing I think is very consistent in everything I do: if I commit to something, I do it well. And I also try to respect everybody along those journeys, because I know the efforts, for example, in this project as well, how much effort it takes to come about in these type of events. And moreover, the pride we should feel to, I think what you said at the beginning is very important, for a big group to go, because it is an endeavor to go. And then how do I fit in? Because most are sculptures, canvas paintings, and how does Ryon fit in? In that sense, for me, it was always a beautiful thing to go to San Nicolas, to the art fair, to ArtisA. My mother is from San Nicolas, so in that sense, I've always had a bond with San Nicolas, although I was raised on the other side of the island. But in that sense, I always had it in my back of my mind that I wanted to do something in San Nicolas. I've done different shows from the Marina to Aruba Fashion Week with my collection of Maison Ryon Aruba. And for the people wondering, how does a fashion brand link to Red Dot Miami, to ArtisA? I think it's good for me to explain. My brand is mainly based on the authenticity of Aruba, for the ones that don't know it. It is based on all that is from the island and from us. All of my fabrics are designed by me and are printed on luxury fabrics. So in that sense, these are not fabrics you would find anywhere in the world in any store. So that makes our product very unique, and it's art. And it's walkable art. That's the clothing. And the jewelry as well, which is going also to Miami with me, is based on our Aruban symbols and our Aruban Indian drawings and pictographs. That collection was launched in 2022. Rather, it's, for me, my jewelry line and my accessories line, I call them timeless pieces forever. So in that sense, if I launched it in 2022, my hope is that in 2080 you can still buy it and you can still wear it, because they are timeless. In that sense, that link then to art, I think, is very, it's an honor to be alongside all of the artists that are going to Miami. I've been to the Miami Art Week a few times myself as a spectator. So when Tito approached me, firstly as an artist, already a few years to do art fashion.
Many years after, yes.
Many years after I accepted, and I collaborated with another artist who is also going, which is Yahaira. And, we combined our strengths and put a collection for art fashion. And I'm very happy to have done that. It was a very good experience. Every fashion show and every runway teaches you something else. And what I always say is I remain grateful for every opportunity and all the volunteers involved and everybody who puts all their effort to be there, even the models, the organizers, and everybody involved, because when I see the empowerment that art fashion, for example, gives to the youth, and the youngsters, they wanna pursue modeling, and the pride they have, and wearing those clothing and walking that runway in St. Nicholas, and that feeling of empowerment, I think, is very beautiful of art fashion in the Art Week in Aruba. In that sense, I'm personally very excited. I'm not in the shipment that's going, so I'm going with everything in my suitcases. But I'm still, so one exciting thing to say what I'm gonna do in Miami. In that sense, normally I launch my collections in November, December. Last year I launched Memoria Jardín, that's my collection of 2025. And then in 2026, I'm gonna have another collection, of course, and it's called Nostalgia. And Nostalgia will be launched then in Miami. So in that sense, it's not gonna be the full collection. The collection is ready, but I have learned by wearing my many hats that, like I said before, everything has its time. And I will choose to do it gradually in the time to come. And I know that, the Aruban client base, and hopefully the new client base I will attain for the brand while being alongside these amazing Aruban artists, will be also showcasing what you just said, a presence at Miami by representing our island in a unified manner.
Thank you for that, Ryan. I think everything you said is very insightful, and I think that this idea that we have to have our lives in silos, right? That one thing can't spill over on the other thing. And I think what you mentioned, that the things that you learn from the many hats that you wear, it's such a gift to be able to have that and to be able to see that value in that. And I think that a lot of people can learn from that and just allow themselves also to maybe not be afraid to take stuff from one part of your life and your identity into the other, especially if it serves the other one further. So thank you for that. Thank you for putting that in that perspective.
Yes, and I think, one thing that I do just want to say about that is, of course, by having these many hats, I think two things are very important. That you're very responsible and kind to others in the process, and kind to yourself, because it does require a lot. But also learn to say, I'm not able to this time.
Yeah.
Because I think whatever you do, you should do it well. And in that sense, by having these many hats, that's the most important thing, because you don't want to leave an impression behind, or you don't want to be part of something and don't dedicate your full self to it. In that sense, I think those are the two tips as well I always give to people that ask me, because it's being totally responsible and also time management. And I'm not perfect in it by all means, but I have to have a bit of skill to am doing what I'm doing. So
yes, and
I would like to just add on, never give up.
Yeah.
Because I never give up on him. I've been stalking him for like 3 years. Just saying.
But it's
Thank you for that, Tito.
but it's that sense of responsibility, I think, Ryan. When I hear you speak, it's a sense of responsibility that you carry. I don't think you would be in a role, of accountancy and control if you didn't, value that.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't a big part of who you are, but then how can that look like in different ways? And I think that for the youth who's coming up as well, I love that they're people out there in the artistic and creative bubble of Aruba who can also, be role models and exemplify, those ideals of being responsible in what you do, being committed, being passionate, and like you said, and that might mean sometimes you have to say no to some things, but then being so conscious about it that you don't let other things suffer, and then you can choose to commit fully and do things well. And I think that's very nice to have that, to be able to look around and be able to see people doing those things, and yeah, I think it also creates a sense of feeling you need to step up and making sure that upcoming artists, they also see that and feel like, okay, I need to. It's not just about making beautiful art. You have to be a responsible person as well, and yeah, taking planning into account. So. I heard you saying to Tito that I know that you are going to leave some things for Red Dot and to what's to come, but I do want to ask you, Tito, when we look at Aruba's art culture and groups of artists in the last couple of years, and we talked about this at the beginning, and we just talked to Ryon, for example. We've seen a shift of people believing that this has to be something that's like full-time and I have to be fully committed to it. What would you want to say to people? What are you trying to create in that space in San Nicolas, but just all over the island? What do you want people to take out of art? You were not into art until you were, and it's in a different role as well. So
I went all in.
Yeah.
Yes, and coming from a non-art background, even though I'm a graphic designer, that is art, but we graphic designers call ourselves creatives and not art and artistics. Artists, sorry. When I had that shift, there were two things that we wanted to do in the beginning of time. 2015, I fell in love with street art. I became an art addict. I wanted to fix art, but we didn't just want to fix art, because art is unfixable. You can create opportunities. You can shift mindsets. And so when I created a plan for San Nicolas, it wasn't only for San Nicolas, it was about art. And San Nicolas is the platform, it's the canvas. That's why it's called Aruba Art Fair and not San Nicolas Fair, because then you would be segregating yourself. So we had two things. One, we're gonna debrand San Nicolas from the red light district into the art district. Nowadays we are the street art capital of the Caribbean, so that's done. But the other thing, the main thing, was shifting the island from a non-artistic to an artistic one. There was a brief time in life in St. Nicholas, we had a mural called the One Happy Arts Island. And that is our vision. Yes, since 2016. How are you going to change a person like me that wasn't into art into getting him involved in art? And that's how we started in 2016 with a series of 12 different projects at the same time, just exploding art in different platforms. And in 2021, thanks to COVID, actually, I could have started with my first gallery, which is called ArtisA Gallery, and it had to have meaning. So first thing I ask all the artists is, you guys have to give workshops. We need to step out. We need to start giving workshops to people. Right now, we are in 2025. We are giving school lessons as well, lessons in jail, lessons in different places.
Nice.
And you can see that some of them are not artistically inclined, but it's therapeutical for them.
Yes.
And other ones start experimenting and say, hey, this is not so difficult for me. I like this. I would like to pursue that. Yes, and I've seen people going from non-art into selling in the Aruba Art Fair. And I've seen people that are now making it as a side hustle, but I've seen people going from the professional side ending up into a full-time artist. Yes, so it's fun because you don't have to be a full-time artist, but I've seen people change from working at working as a secretary in a very high place into being a full-time artist. Yes, and that's the safe haven that St. Nicholas provides as well with the galleries, because there you can express yourself freely. You can create any size of art you want to, and it's fun. It's fun because now we have a collection of 60 crafters and artists and designers as well in our places.
Yeah.
And some of them are full-time, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And some of them are part-time, which is awesome. And it's okay because the Aruba Art Fair, the art fashion, the art week, it's designed as a safe haven, as a place for you to come and experiment.
Mhm.
Is we see potential and we throw you under the bus. Like the collection between Ryon and Yahaira. I've been walking behind Yahaira for 4 years.
Mhm.
For 3 years to get her to do this.
Mhm.
I've been exploring with her mind that you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And I've been asking him as well for a lot of 2 years. It's like, when are you joining us?
Mhm.
And then seeing them going together, I'm like, gotcha. Yes, and that's the platform that we have to offer.
Mhm.
Yes, it's not the best platform in the world, but it's the most open-minded place that we try to elevate creativity. Being a full-time artist, being a hobbyist, or a part-time, as long
Mhm.
as you have talent, we're open to you.
And I love that because it's hard to create cultural, change, mind shifts in a culture, in a society, in a community, right? And I do have to say, if I look back at when, for example, I was in high school to now, it's the way that people spoke of artists, the way that people referred to street art, referred to designers, anything that sort of fell outside of like the box of conventional. So we have been creating that, and like you said, and I love that too, because it's not just for the artists who are doing it because they love art, but the fact that you're also contributing back in therapeutical ways, in ways that it just helps the brain rewire. It helps the brain create new pathways that are safe. They provide spaces for expression that they might not have otherwise. And I don't think a lot of people necessarily know how involved maybe a lot of local artists are in our community, and what that is contributing. It's my boss, for example. I don't know if she's listening, but she goes to art class once a week, for example, and I love it. She's in a very serious job. She's the inspector general, and I see her going to these art classes, and it's so nice because it gives her that opportunity, right, to have fun, to do something nice. And it's not about, I don't know if she's saying, if you're pursuing art like full time, let us know on time, because like, but the fact that you can see that people feel like that is a safe place to go to relax and to find yourself, I love it. And I think that you can only do that by doing the very hard work of being consistent in creating exposure and trying to change people's minds. And we only see it in hindsight, right? We don't see it as it's happening. But now maybe you can see like 10 years back, and you can be like, okay, when you started to now, huge difference. And where are we going, right? It's like you keep going and keep pushing for that. But also to see how other people like Jean, who've made Aruba their home, and to be so invested not only in your art and what you do, but contributing back to the shaping of Aruba's art community, and to shaping. And I know Jean is not the only one. I know that there are many people who were not born in Aruba, or maybe even raised in Aruba, but have made Aruba their home, and then have found this space where they felt safe, but also not only safe, but felt a sense of responsibility as well to contribute and give back. And I think that you only create that space if you see other people already doing that, right? And you want to be part of that. So I don't know if you want to add something to that, Jean.
I love what you're saying. I love this conversation. Tito and I talk about this a lot, actually, when we're, hanging art and walls and stuff. But what you're really getting at is this sense of generational healing through the arts, and I love that we offer that, and that we've been contributors to that in Aruba, and that's why I'm so interested in going with this group of artists and getting to know them a little bit more, and there we're all going to be together and talking for 4 days straight. It's going to be like so much fun. I mean, we have a lot of hoops to jump through to get there, but I think about generational healing a lot in artists that I work with. I've been a teacher for 30 years, and I'm always like behind what I try to produce as a product with my students. I'm always trying to have them have a sense of connection to what they do, and a sense of a sense of pride and a sense of, in a sense of like, I made this and it made me feel like I made a difference in the world. And I think that whenever I work with my students, there's always that moment where we struggle with a painting or we struggle with something, and it is a struggle, right? It's a struggle to feel like if society says to you, you're not creative, then you probably aren't going to be creative as a child or something, and then if the society says you're very talented and you win awards, you're probably more likely to pursue something. So, but everybody is a person who at a certain point has to kind of like, it's really beautiful when there's that point in learning when someone says, wow, I kind of like really like this. I really like what I made, and thank you for helping me, because I feel like it's really changed maybe some of the trauma that I've had around the fact that I've always felt creative, but no one's ever really supported that. And I've had some interesting conversations recently with artists about this kind of thing, and especially specifically, in my dialogue with artists here in Aruba. And so it's nice to bring that out in the conversation today.
I love that, Jean. Thank you so much. I like how your experience just sort of translates into making people feel safe, because I think that teachers have a very important role in doing that if they are doing it right, and that you can see that back, because sometimes they don't see that back, but that you can hear it back. I love that. So thank you for just putting in that energy in our youth and our people, because it's not always youth, right? It's adults too. And I hope whomever is listening too, that they can also feel that, right? That you don't have to be 16 to sort of have this feeling and epiphany or something. You can have it at any point in your life.
Yeah, and that's totally true. And I think I wanted to also relay back to what Tito said earlier, in the sense that I think by changing the perception of San Nicolas in the past few years, it changes that direction, and giving the opportunity. And as a person that has been part of different organizations and as well types of events with my brand as well, and different teams, and all of them are great and exceptional. But I do feel that the art fashion and the art week, you feel what he is talking about, and every single, in that sense, runway show or show is great, but every single one has a purpose, of course. And what is very also great, what Jean said, the connection, the intention, and I'm a very intentional person, an intentional brand. So when I went to the art week, I wanted as well to be very intentional. So that's why with Yahaira, because I was like, yeah, I can design a print, but I want to collaborate. And also what is very important, it's the aspect of showing people that doesn't need to be me, it can be us. It's a collaboration,
it's
and
about us.
everybody can go forward, everybody can lift each other up. And what I always say, what Jean also as a teacher I think feels, and Tito as the brain behind it all, that it's not about me. I have Maison Ryon now, but I hope to inspire another creative director in the future, or a few for Aruba, because it's so limited in that area. And I've had people come up to me, said to me, I want to be like you. What do you do? And I'm like, whoa, okay, you don't think that you will reach that. And in that sense, I think that's our message too. It's because we cannot do everything alone. So it's better to collaborate. I've collaborated with different brands, different people in the Maison Ryon journey. And that's why as well, and the opportunities that the Art Week creates for me and for all the artists that are going together to Red Dot, showcasing their exceptional art, showcasing Aruba also on an international platform, networking, getting to know different artists, different people. And what Tito also says is very important. In the end of the day, Aruba does thrive on tourism. So that's another discussion, but I think how great is it to attract our tourists with our art scene.
Yeah.
And in that sense, life is very peculiar. When I was 16, I was at that time at APE, and at APE you do a tourism project. At that time, I did a research with a group of 4. What is the connection of art and tourism? And at that time, I think that's year 2007. Of course, I was already planned to go to Holland and do accountancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember presenting that idea to the school board.
Mm-hmm.
From the school board, it went to the minister minister to the governor to ATA, and then to ATA, I got to meet Queen Reina Beatrix because of that research.
Wow.
And then that research from a kid of 16 years old in a group, we were a group, and we built an art gallery in school. And if you know me, I do everything well. We even did fundraisings. We a full airco class. We covered the walls in white curtains for it to look like a gallery. I had lounges. I did it. It was great. And and I remember at the time the minister came and they selected us to be the presenters. And then as a kid, I didn't know what it would entail in my life afterwards.
Yes.
So that's why I think it's very good for us to also be very aware that we can inspire the next generation, represent our island as a unity, and also bring back tourists, because it does have an impact. Art
Big
does bring
impact, right?
art does impact the visitor's experience, because a lot of travelers, I think, including all of us here, we look for authenticity. And there's so many destinations nowadays, and choosing Aruba, of course, we know it's sun, sand, and sea. That's number one, and we love it. But also they're looking for something more.
Yep.
And by doing these type of movements and by doing these things, and we put Aruba on a global scale also in the art scene. And moreover, to be able to say, we have amazing artists on island, and really giving that space in ArtisA, and now that ArtisA goes to Miami, to Red Dot. I mean, it's a platform to be very grateful for, and to be very honored to be able to fill that space by going with our art as everybody involved, but also to know the impact, as Jean also said at the beginning, for Aruba and the connection to our roots. And
Yes.
art is your core. So in that sense, I just wanted to say that, and also for Tito to keep pushing, and also everybody involved in San Nicolas with the event. I want to say as well, as an external party, when you see the volunteers, it ranges from the show. From now, I'm also offering my products in Space 21 Art in San Nicolas. And you see the involvement, the commitment, the sense of being helpful. So I encourage everybody, if you have a visitor visiting the island, or even yourself, just go to San Nicolas, go to the main streets, to ArtisA and Art Space 21, and just walk around, see the murals, and really enjoy that nook and that space in Aruba, because I think it does scream identity and it does scream authenticity.
I was gonna ask you all to do a closing statement, so Ryon, I'm gonna just ask you if you want to add anything else to what you just said.
Okay. So because this is very specifically for Red Dot.
Okay.
For the people that don't know what is Red Dot, it's an art fair in the Miami Art Week. Very oftentimes, people in Aruba refer to Miami Art Week as Art Basel, because Art Basel is one of the fairs. So there's different fairs in the week, but all of them are great. So in that sense, Red Dot Miami is an exceptional fair, and we will be there from, I think it's the 3rd to the 7th, right?
Yes.
The 3rd to the 7th of December. Opening times are 12 to 8. So if you're in Miami and you want to see beautiful art, I think come along and see the amazing art of artists from around the world, but as well to connect with the Aruban artists and give your support as well, and then connect with everybody involved. And in that sense, I think we should be very, very proud to be able to stand as Aruba in unity in Miami, representing our art scene. So in that sense, my closing statement would be to, if you're in Miami, please come. And if not, I'm sure you'll see us through social media and what we're doing.
That's for sure.
And support, right? Give support.
Indeed.
Support looks in many different ways. So maybe just sharing the news and the information is already a big deal. Tito, is there anything you want to leave us with?
So, Red Dot Miami this year, we're going with not only 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We're going with 10 artists to Red Dot Miami, launching Art Week 2026. Yes, under the theme of Nature Meets Mankind.
Ooh.
Yes, that's our theme for next year. And we're very grateful for Aruba Tourism Authority, especially Dijkhoff, that understood our vision,
Nice.
that saw where we're going to, that knows what we're doing, and that gives us also the platform to go. Yes, because without Aruba Tourism Authority, we could not be there. Yes, shout out to Dijkhoff, because Dijkhoff is a very interesting new player in Aruba Tourism Authority, which is shaking ATA to push more into the arts and culture division.
Nice.
And we need more of those people that just come and doesn't understand no, like I do. Yes, and we're not only going to sell art, we're going to display Aruba.
Nice.
Yes, under the theme of Nature Meets Mankind, we're not gonna go and just try to sell to be a normal gallerist. We're actually motivating artists to go to Red Dot, to link up with other galleries, to
Nice.
link up with other artists, because the Red Dot is actually created for gallerists such as I am. But being a social gallerist and a social entrepreneur, my vision is to bring everybody and let them express themselves, let them get the connections, and not just keep them under my wing, but let them be free. Yes, and also everybody that's gonna buy a painting, a sculpture, or a piece of design, wearable art, gets a chance to come to Aruba Art Fair 2026. Actually, the whole art week, everything paid.
Nice.
Yes, because we're going to
Okay.
sell Aruba.
Nice.
We're not gonna sell Ryon. We're not gonna sell Jean, Helena Hus, Yahaira Maduro, Elisa Lijue, Alejandra Vallejo, and Elvis Strom, Armando Goedgedrag, Paul Wong, yeah, and Grace Shapanik. Yes, no. We're gonna sell Aruba, and everybody here is gonna represent Aruba, and we want them to come back to Art Week 2026, where you have more accessible art, where you have more fun, awesome food, awesome people, and a whole spectacle that is not only about art, but is art, culture, creating a movement. Yes, so we're very excited for the opportunity to go to the States, and we're very appreciative of giving us the space for today. And for everybody, follow us on ArtisA. Yes, our Facebook, Instagram, to see who's going, what's going on. If you would like to give a donation, you can also go to artisaruba.com, and $5, $10, $20, $30, whatever dollars you have, or Florence is welcome to help us get there, because our space is already paid for, but all those other things we're trying to figure out ourselves. And as you know, we're bringing more than 100 pieces to Red Dot Miami, and that's not cheap. But we are very excited. It was written in the plan since 2016 to visit a fair, and we're making it happen, and we are already booked for next year.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much, Tito. I felt like that was very energizing. So I hope that message came across as energizing to other people too. And now I'm excited because I already know that you're planning for next year as well. So
Yes.
it gives a sense of continuity and
Yes.
commitment. Jean, is there something you want to leave us with?
Wow. So a lot has been said, and I agree with it all. I think we as a collective are going to this fair, building a new vision for Aruba, and I credit Tito. I love Ryon. It's been so fun to be on the air with you and learn more about you and your influence in Aruba. I love learning about the history of Aruba. But a couple details, like if you really are planning on going, we have free tickets. So you can contact us. We have unlimited free tickets as guests and exhibitors.
Yeah, baby.
So please don't
Nice.
hesitate. I think you'll have a lot of fun. You'll see a lot of great art. It'll change your life in a lot of ways. It'll make you a believer and we want that. And then of course, when you're liking what we do, please don't hesitate to share it. The more you can share us and share about what we are and what we're doing, you're just uplifting us more and uplifting maybe even your future in the arts in some way, whether it's taking a class or dipping your foot into something that you didn't think you were capable of. And I think the potential and the empowerment that comes from that is really, really important. So
Thank you, Jean. And for everybody who might be listening or might have friends maybe who will be in Miami, because sometimes we're like, oh, I'm not going to be there. But if you know somebody, I would highly encourage you indeed to encourage them to reach out for them to visit and see the space and all of the beautiful art, not just of the Aruban art, of course, but especially of the art
you can
coming
reach
from
out
us,
on
yes.
our social media channels at ArtisA. ARTISA is Instagram, and then of course, what other ways?
One thing I want to hit on is I want to thank all of our visitors that are so extremely excited. I mean, we don't feel the passion on the island because they don't understand what we're doing. But our visitors that are coming back every year and they're learning that we are going to Ratot Miami, they want to buy a painting now, but they can't because it needs to be going to Ratot Miami. And they're like, but I want it. No, you have to go to Ratot Miami to get it. Tell me when it is, give me the tickets, I'm going. And I'm very grateful for all these visitors, all of our guests, repeat customers that are so excited to go to Red Dot Miami this year because Aruba is gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yes, their island, their home away from home
It's going to be there.
It's coming to the United States of America, and they are. I don't know. They give me a sense of pride that art is now global. Aruban art is now global, and our own visitors are going to Red Dot just to come say hi and buy a
love
piece.
it.
And that's amazing.
It is amazing. Thank you so much for spending this Saturday morning hour with me and having conversations with me. Jean, it's always a pleasure, so keep reaching out when you want to. I want to say, of course, thank you to my awesome sponsors for allowing me to talk about whatever I want to talk about today. We talked about art and how the art world in Aruba has shifted, but also our perception of what art is, who is an artist, and how you can incorporate art in your life has shifted and continues to shift. So I hope this episode was motivating, inspiring. It captured in you in some way, and if you think it might be interesting for somebody else, of course share it with that person, right? Encourage somebody else, inspire somebody else as well. If you listen towards the end, do not worry. You can find this episode back on Cool FM, YouTube, and Facebook, as well as Sincerely Carolina's. It will be available next week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and whatever other platform you might use for streaming podcasts. Thank you so much. And thank you to my awesome sponsors, of course. Thank you to Purina, to Toto, to La Roche-Posay, and to Cool FM, of course, for this space. I will see you again next week. There's a lot going on this month, so I do want to hear from you if there is something that you don't want me to leave out during this month, so I can make sure to schedule it in. And oh my gosh, it's almost the end of the year, so we're gonna of course be having some fun Christmas related and end of year related episodes as well, of course with an educative aspect to it, but yes. All right, stay safe, have fun, bye. Hi, I'm Carolina, and I am the host of Sincerely Carolina, a series of educational conversations about current social issues with local and international experts. Make sure you tune in every Saturday on Cool FM from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye!
Mascota te come Purina? Well, if hindi ayaki abo ibo mascota por gana in grande que Purina Possum Holidays. Purina Pro Plan, Dog Chow, Friskies, Fancy Feast y Hobby Marca Más. Compra dos productos valorando mínimo 25 florin y gana 1,000 florin cash. Cool prices y un área gratis de comida para tu mascota. Purina Possum Holidays. Visita a Facebook page de compra para más información. Recibí más Más y paga menos junto con Total Savings. Aprovechado yung interés rebaja y pago mensual más abajo de luna de septiembre a octubre. Hace un préstamo de 10, de 5, 20 o teco 25 mil florín. Comenzando na pago na mensual de solamente 301 florín. Y camina a por parte con 4 mil florín como préstamo. Para más información, toma contacto con el loan officer de 594-2167 o visita total.away. Cumplimos meta ng ISPAR junto con Total.
Your finances, total control.